Welcome into the Energy Tech Podcast live at ICC 2025. Mike is joined now by Mark La Liberte from HMS. Guys, welcome into the show.
Hey, Jeff. This has been a great show here at ICC 2025 here in the heart of Sacramento with Inductive Automation. And we've got a great guest, Mr. Mark La Liberte with HMS. Good to have you, man.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good to have you on the show. You know, we're excited because I think that HMS, in my mind, is one of the secret weapons of products that are edge-driven, report by exception, open architecture pieces, and we're going to talk about that here. But before we do all that, Mark, I want you to share with our audience and, of course, with the community that pays attention with, you know, what you do here at HMS, you know, and why you're here.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on. It's an honor and a privilege. So Joe Wagner and I decided we definitely wanted to support this ignition community. We believe firmly in digital transformation and what that means for a company that might not even be Industry 3.5 yet.
Yeah.
Right? How do we help them get from not as competitive to cutting edge competitive and be along with them for the journey? So we decided to come here and show them sort of like our own little prove it session.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll be even more competitive there in the future, like at the Prove It 2026. We're hoping for that. But anyways, we're happy to show how we can be part of an ecosystem that's reliable, cost effective, and not have any kind of gotcha hidden fees.
Yeah. So, you know, when I think of that, one of the interesting things is leveling up here at ICC. That's the theme. And so when I think of that, Ignition has done some things here to level up. Number one, they're in a brand new facility, right? They were normally at Folsom, California. It's a lot smaller. This gives a lot more room for end users, the HMS team, others to come and have a bigger, deeper conversation and not worry about crowded. Second, they released their 8.3, all right? So they did that with lots of version, lots of updates, lots of cool tools that they're integrated. And I think third is they've got that Prove It. You're talking about this Prove It sessions that they're doing. You know, one of the things I think needs to happen, Mark, you know, I've talked to you previously, is I think manufacturing has that Prove It, which I think Walker Reynolds and the 4.0 Solutions team does an outstanding job. But I'll tell you what, I think there should be a Prove It for the energy sector that just hasn't happened. I think that needs to happen, man. And I think that is a level up. When I say level up, I think that would be a great opportunity for HMS to showcase some products. One of the staples is Red Lion, and HMS has gone in and brought in Red Lion as a key offering with HMS. And I wanted to talk to you about that first, because there is a strategy behind that, right?
Yeah, there is. I mean, I do have some fairly large utility customers, and I asked them, so why did you pick Red Lion in the first place? There's a lot of other gateway companies on the market. And they said, well, we examined several vendors, and we chose you guys because you're the most secure industrial gateway that we could find. And so out of the box, we've taken some of that technology. We're an enterprise-grade firewall and router, and we support DNP3, and we can still collect, you know, Modbus RTU data, and we can even convert that to OPC UA, client server, or MQTT, or my favorite, Sparkplug B.
No, I think you're right. You know, when I think of Red Lion, I'm in energy, oil and gas, spent a lot of time there, and recently with data center customers. So I'm going to tell you a story. I was in a data center in Canada, and they had these water meters that were an old Modbus RTU, and that company had 3 or 5 different integrators come in with their flavor of solutions. What we did was show up with a Red Lion DA50, plug that sucker in, RS485,
Yep.
and it was on an old machine, the daisy-chained water meters. Why? Because the data center needed to incorporate the ability to aggregate data for the water meters, and they needed to convert that from that old-style Modbus RTU and then leverage MQTT on the other side.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you right now what fit the bill at that point was a Red Lion, and I was calling the team out there. I needed a Red Lion. Luckily, like Uber Eats, they brought me one, which I thought was impressive at the time. And they brought that to us. We plugged that in, and that company, that data center group, said, in the last 4 years, between 5 integrators, we could never do. You guys have done that, and we were able to give them, take their water cooled information and give that to them in a more granular fashion, leveraging ignition.
Right.
Okay. So that's my story. But what I want to hear is, Mike, that's a good story. That's one of our, when I think of the DA50 and such, those are kind of like staples. Everyone grabs those for protocol conversion.
Right.
But tell me a little bit about Red Lion, especially the flagship, which is your FlexEdge.
Right.
Right? Because immediately after that, I thought beyond the DA50 into the DA50 and said, oh man, you know, those sleds and what's offered there on FlexEdge is a flagship piece. So kind of walk us through that, why it's such a flagship.
Yeah, so I got a couple pieces here, and you know, here's the DA50 for those that might be new, but come with a couple of serial ports. We have separate subnets that can now be bridged via software.
Right.
We got the ability to put 256 gigs of storage on the device, and that can be Sparkplug messages that are all time-stamped. So when the comms temporarily go down,
right,
we've still got them retained. So that in and of itself is a huge value proposition.
A store and forward, absolutely.
Right? And for those that want to display critical values and maybe they don't want to pay for an HMI, we got an HDMI port available, right? And if that's not something that you thought of in advance, then you can always take a smart TV somewhere down the network and you can plug 1 or 2 or 3 or even 4 TVs in high def to one of these.
Yeah, so basically either keeping it headless or push it out there for the local plant floor if you wanted to do that, right? And what I'm hearing is store and forward. Now, 256 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you talk about compact MQTT or messages,
right,
it's a lot. It actually is a lot. So, in fact, with the data center, we were able to store, I want to say it was well over a year's worth of data.
I think for water treatment plants who traditionally would have done, you know, CSV files and, you know, manually retrieve those files. I mean, that's years worth of data in a water facility like a booster station.
Right.
But even in a high throughput, high tag count application like in oil and gas or manufacturing, because you're using 90% less bandwidth, ballpark, right? 80 to 99%,
right,
somewhere in that range. That is a massive reduction in the amount of capacity that you need and throughput through the network. So, you know, whether it's the DA50 or the larger DA70 with the expandable I/O and the 3 comms ports on the front, you've got modularity, you've got decisions that you can make and then change on the fly. And, you know, should you use cellular, I would just say up front, look, that cellular module is the weakest link. This is a very robust product line.
Right.
But if you've got an extra sled on hand and that thing fails, it's a router and a firewall, so you can back up to another technology until you can get out to the field, get out to the site, pop the thing out, replace the module.
It also comes with some natting features, right? Which is really appreciated, especially on networking. When I've got a parse out measurement group, I've got a parse out leak detection, whatever it is I want to parse out, I can do that on the natting side.
That's right.
On the network. The other thing is, tell me about the rating, because I think when I think about the device itself, I think that there's a rating. So usually in oil and gas, fit for purpose.
It's all Class 1 Division 2.
Class 1 Div 2 needs to be rated.
Right.
In a data center, maybe not the case, greater than IP67 rating. So you really want that. So I think what I like about the product overall is just the ability, it's fit for purpose, and it's the construction of it all. So I think that's one piece.
We can survive no problem in a harsh vibration-induced environment. We can do 40 below to 75C operating temp. We don't have the IP67 that you mentioned.
Okay.
You'd have to put this in a cabinet, right?
Yes,
you can't expose this.
Yeah. So what I meant was cabinet rated. Typically, fans or heating is normal.
Oh, got yeah.
So
we don't need any
that.
heating or air conditioning.
Yep.
And of course, we can network everything with our N-Tron switches. The NT5000 is our latest generation, but this stuff is extremely robust. I mean, these go to 80C. You could cook eggs on that thing and still would work.
Yeah, that's one thing I love. And so talk to me a little bit to, usually when I'm using FlexEdge on the flagship side, you've got the different commingled, I call them sleds, right?
Yep.
You've got some sleds you can mix. What are the most popular ones that kind of go to in the bucket, go to in the toolbox, and then what you're seeing extended out now?
It varies by vertical market. I'm heavy in oil and gas and water wastewater in my region. Other manufacturers are going to have some different answers, but Modbus RS45 all day long.
Right.
People buy in our DA70s in high volume because now they can bring in multiple meters, regardless of what kind of meter it is. Bring those RTU values in, convert it whatever they need to, and a lot are moving to Sparkplug B.
Right.
But on a pad, sometimes if they want to do sharing across, I've got a customer that uses 5 DA70s on a pad.
Right.
They can share OPC UA, client and server relationship, move the data around to where they need to, and then fire it off through through the 4G LTE gateway, or if there's no cell tower because it's way out there, then now they're using Starlink. So that's popular there. Some of our customers are now saying, oh my gosh, I didn't know you could support CANbus and J1939.
Yeah.
That's really important to a compressor manufacturer or to a company that can now capture natural gas, burn it, make power on site, raw gas to electricity all day long, guys.
Yeah, especially on that protocol. The other thing I want to remind you is that protocol is also typical upstream in drilling and completions.
Okay.
So that, if I was going to push something out to you in HMS, guys, there's potential there in drilling and completions where that protocol is just heavy, and they're looking for wireless opportunities.
Right.
So I've seen that as well. So we're looking into that with one of our oil and gas customers with FlexEdge.
Nice.
So that we're looking at that kind of opportunity. So I think that's great. Tell me a little bit more, and when we talk about this, because HMS has got other products. Before I move on, and we'll talk about that for a second, let's kind of talk about 3 main areas that I like to target, especially with Red Lion in general as a product line. You have people in operations, then you have the superintendent or whoever, depending on your vertical, a plant manager, and then you've got this, what I call a leadership role, right? Which is the CEO, COO, director of fill in the blank, middle director, whatever that is. And so they target 3 areas: cost, complexity, cybersecurity.
Right.
So let's kind of walk through each one just a little bit in reference to, we'll stick with Red Lion, but HMS has value in other products. If you want to throw those in, that's fine. But let's stay along that vein, man. I really want to hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different avenues here because under the HMS brand, there's under the HMS company name, there are many brands.
Right.
I'm more familiar with the Red Lion and N-Tron over the others, but I'm learning the E1 and the AnyBus and the ICSAT and all these other lines. So cost-wise, I think that when you're talking about someone in charge of an operation, cost, complexity, bang for your buck, we are incredibly hard to beat. In fact, with all of these really viable competitors here, our differentiator is the Crimson software that's under that hood.
Yes.
Right? So if you're the plant superintendent or the operations manager, some capacity like that, I'm going to say, look, we can replace an HMI, we can replace a edge gateway, we can replace a security firewall, we can replace a cell router, we can replace I'm pulling out, I don't have any more fingers on this hand, so then we go to the other hand. And you can get all of this with an unlimited license. It's a 20-year design life, and you're under $3,000, and you can even turn it into a PLC to control tank level. You can open valves and turn on pumps. Come on.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think what you have there is the combination of both an industrial PC grade piece and at the same time the logic control that you would expect that's common with PLC.
Right.
The other thing too I like is the Crimson capability. So you talked about cost. Complexity, I think one of the things is important is in Crimson.
100%.
Yeah, you've got your different languages you can talk, right? So walk me through that just a little bit,
So, yeah, it's hard to cover in just a short period. We do 30-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour classes on what you can do with Crimson. And even experienced users say, I didn't know Crimson could do that.
Yeah.
So out of the box, we're talking about 305, 310 machine languages. We can visualize the data, plugging in a TV, like I think I talked about.
Right.
We're a headless HMI. You can remote secure connect to this over a VPN tunnel. You can have 2 different, 3 different, 4 different operators looking at a challenging application, connected through this, able to connect all the connected data, right? Pinging each device, finding out where your comms troubles are coming from.
Right.
We can do 10 separate Ethernet protocols in addition to serial protocols at the same time, store all of this stuff, Sparkplug B, and send it on change based on the bandwidth change, excuse me, not the bandwidth change. What's the word I'm looking for? Darn it.
You're talking about for...
the change between each tag, right?
Yeah, so MQTT, you're talking about...
Yeah. If I poll at 200 milliseconds, or if I poll at 1 second or 15 minutes, I can put those different tag values into the folder structure to publish. But the deadband is the name I was trying to remember. You, as the customer, choose the deadband for each individual tag, and you send that wherever you want, whenever you want.
Yes.
That's powerful.
Yes.
And you're getting all of that without software license cost.
Wow. Yeah, so that covers, right there, I think you hit it on the head in terms of cost. The complexity with the product is reduced, because a lot of times some of this stuff, if I'm the automation guy, I'm not only going to have to DIN-rail mount this thing, coordinate with my I&E group, talk to my operations group. I got to secure it at the same time. I also have to speak with the IT group, right? And work that out.
Yeah.
So I've got to be able to talk not just operations, but move over to the IT side. So I have a lot of responsibility.
Right.
And sometimes, Mark, cybersecurity isn't at the top of my head. It's just not, because I'm busy making sure my plant is producing, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to name drop, but I will say that some of our largest customers say, all right, this sounds great for us for operations. We got to get IT to pen test this thing. So we've sent off units to unnamed companies, very large, well-known, respected companies, and IT approved these things because they have the ability to be locked down network-wise, layer 2 or layer 3, right? Because this is a layer 3 router, and firewall. And then further, then these same companies are also moving to fully managed switches, and they're getting away from this unmanaged switch mentality.
Well, I think the plus to that too is because you're running Sparkplug B and MQTT, you've already got that nice protection that you already get with outbound port only and on pub sub. Absolutely.
Right? To pub sub using a TLS encrypted connection.
There you go.
It is inherently safe.
That's right.
So there's no perfect technology out there, guys, right?
Yeah.
We're all looking for something that's going to fit our needs and fit our budget. But I can tell you right now, Ignition is awesome software, and it's growing in its expanse into enterprise. Right. Very exciting stuff. But it still has a level of complexity that this does not have. You can literally get this thing up and running in 15 minutes. Right. Start publishing data, collecting all your Allen Bradley tags. Dude, I mean, we can pull in all of the single, 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional arrays, UDTs, AOIs, and we can pull all of that in 1 minute, and then point it to a Sparkplug broker, and then have that publishing live data in 5 minutes with no code.
Absolutely. And I've done that with the staple of the product that you have here. So I've seen it firsthand, especially in oil and gas, seen it in data center, and I've seen it in manufacturing. Yeah. So I think there's lots of potential for that. So we talked about cost. We talked about complexity and cybersecurity. Tell me a little bit about support. So when someone gets it, whether they're doing large scale projects or they're doing proofs of concept sometimes, what does that look like when someone unboxes and what they get?
Yeah, so usually we've had 2 or more engagements, right? We've explained to them that they need to download Crimson 3.2 from our website. That's a no-charge download. Right. Play around with it. Obviously, we're all having to move to Windows 11 because Windows 10 is end of life. And so we're saying, look, play around with it for just a few hours. Take an afternoon and just walk around. Use the emulator. Bring in some tags. Right. You can do this startup without even having the equipment. Once you get the equipment, we don't stop supporting you, right? So we don't even charge for our tech support. And so when customers have a need for that, they can just go on the website, submit a ticket, and I say, look, this is how you should do it. Just give us a screenshot of what's troubling you, or send us a copy of your Crimson file, and we'll help walk you through that.
Right.
I often get pulled into the tickets because they know me. They're saying, hey, Mark, what's going on? Do it like this. And guys, I mean, I'm not kidding you. We don't charge for the tech support.
Right.
And of course, everybody gets occasional complaints from that, but I can tell you right now from personal experience,
Right.
under 2-hour response time when you follow this path. And in most cases now, I'm hearing we're down to 30 minutes.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
But gone are the days of just picking up the phone and getting somebody on the phone right away, because we're handling thousands of tickets a day.
No, you are. Yeah. No, absolutely. So I think that's still great to hear, especially in critical operations, critical infrastructure.
Yep.
So that matters. So you've got support. One of the things you alluded to earlier is you guys offer training. So there's lots of training time periods that are fit into there,
Right.
where you're doing actual fit for purpose training
Right.
with field teams, right?
That's correct. So we like to meet with the automation engineers. Sometimes we try to break it out because IT people don't want to sit on the OT and vice versa. So
Right.
if there's IT people that want, then I will bring in an IT engineer and we will cover what they need to. We can do that over Teams.
Right.
But usually it's the automation engineers, right? The field techs. And we say, this is how you should do this and why.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And those are usually scheduled, 2 or 3 weeks in advance, ballpark.
Right.
And we've got, I'm a territory business manager. We've got them all over the United States. We
Yes.
cover Canada. We're overseas, right?
Yes.
We're a global company. And we really care about our customers. We want them to have a positive experience.
Yeah. And you know what, Mark? I would love to keep you here. Trust me, man. I want to keep you here for a little longer, but I can't. HMS has a lot to offer. They're here at ICC 2025 here today, here tomorrow. You can come see them here at ICC 2025. And Mark, I see you guys returning, and we're going to do some demo stuff and do some small prove-its to reach out to the community.
Awesome.
Appreciate having you on
Thank
the
you,
show.
Michael.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. This was good.
Right on.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mark. And once again, Mark La Liberte with HMS, and I'm your co-host, Mike Flotis. Energy Tech Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.